Greetings and welcome to the Southside Help Center show. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and welcome you. It is exciting. We have been doing the show now for about 6 weeks, and we have had phenomenal guests come on and talk about the programming at the Southside Help Center. Today we have another phenomenal guest on our show today. It's Miss Pamela Wrenn, and she's the Director of Capacity Building at the Southside Help Center. We're going to get right into our question, but before we do that, we want to make sure we cover a couple of things that we got coming up. It's going to be extremely important. On Friday, the 27th of August, we have a back-to-school event. At our back-to-school event, we're going to have, oh my God, a lot of stuff going on. We're going to have free food. Make sure that people understand and know we got that. We're also going to be giving out school supplies and book bags. The other thing we're going to be doing is immunizations. We also have a couple of other agencies coming out that's going to provide them with screenings for their shots and so forth and so on. So if you're a parent, you're going to need some back-to-school screenings. Come on out to the Southside Help Center on Friday. We're going to start at 12. We're going to go from 12 to 5. We're going to be doing immunizations. We're going to be serving food. We're going to be providing school supplies. So please do come out August 27th, 12 o'clock. Let me just put it up on the screen for you really quick. This is our overhead. This is All I Do Is Win, back-to-school block party, and it will be Friday, August 27th. It's going to be from 12 until 5. So please come on out. We're going to talk about that throughout the show. We want everybody to come out and enjoy that. We're going to have a few other things going on at that particular event. This is something for the parents. Positive parenting involvement. So important that our parents get involved with our children when they're going to school, because again, I always say this, when kids go to school, they don't go to school for discipline, they go to school for education. The more structure and discipline they get at home, the better students they'll become. So we're going to have that for you. We're also going to have a stress management. That's invaluable because, again, when you're talking about the school year and all that goes on in that time, you need some stress management. So we'll have a stress management courses going on as well. The last thing we'll be doing is creating values for our youth. So these are 3 things that's going to be going on within the actual back-to-school thing for parents. So parents, make sure you come out and bring your kids out so you can get the immunization, so you can get the back-to-school supplies, and also we're going to be serving food, and we have some stuff for the parents. I'll talk a little bit more about what we have going on. I just want to make sure we cover the history of Southside Help Center. Southside Help Center has been in existence since 1987. Our founder, Ms. Betty Smith, she founded Southside Help Center many years ago when we started talking about HIV prevention and education. Since that time, we've become a holistic shop where we're doing a number of different things to service the community. Currently, our executive director is Ms. Vanessa Smith, who is doing a fabulous job over at the Southside Help Center in providing programs. Again, we have throughout the 13 weeks, we're going to go from program to program from program. We've covered things like violence prevention youth programs. We've covered things like safety count substance abuse program. We also covered things like SEBA on the last week, as well as case management. Well, this week we have Ms. Pamela Wrenn, who is our Director of Capacity Building. I want to go ahead and start with those questions. If you have any questions, give us a call here at the station. Our number here is 312-738-1060. 312-738-1060. This is a live call-in show. If you have any questions for Ms. Wrenn, please feel free to give us a call here at the Southside Help Center. So we're going to go right into capacity building, and this is her baby. This is she is phenomenal at that. I've seen her over the years, and I don't know anyone better. So let's talk a little bit about what capacity building is, Ms. Wrenn.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. It's great to be here today. Basically, within Southside Help Center, we have a newly developed unit called the Capacity Building Unit, otherwise known as Building and Nurturing Communities of Color. And basically, building and nurturing communities of color, otherwise known as BANC, what we do is we provide another level of service, which is specifically geared towards other organizations, other community-based organizations like Southside Help Center, faith-based organizations, clinics, etc., that are providing prevention services to African American and Latino populations in particular, but all populations. Basically what we do is we provide assistance to other organizations like us. So capacity building assistance, otherwise known as SEBA, provides an opportunity for organizations to receive assistance through skills building trainings, through technology transfer. In other words, we take scientific information and we make it applicable to what the organization is doing through their various science-based interventions. We also send out information on a regular basis through e-blasts or e-bulletins to keep all of the HIV providers within the United States and its territories abreast of the different issues and events and resources available to them in regard to HIV prevention programs. All of the things that we do through the capacity building branch allows us to be of service to organizations, again, just like ours, that are providing direct services to various populations across the country.
And I do hear you saying across the country. When you say across the country, how far does this go? How far does you guys' arm go when you talk about across the country?
Well, what's exciting is that Southside Help Center has grown tremendously. For those of you that may be familiar with our organization, over the years since since it was founded in 1987. And one of the key elements of our services has always been technical assistance or helping others. And so in the spirit of our founder, Mrs. Betty Smith, the agency has over the years further developed who and what it is in the way of levels of services and types of services. And so we've gone from providing informal one-on-one services to help other organizations to better their services and to improve how they're delivering their services, their HIV/AIDS services to individuals in the community, to a fully funded formal program, otherwise again known as BANK. And so not only do we have a CDC funded project, but we have a project that's also funded by the Office of Minority Health, OMH. And that's through a collaboration with some local organizations. So we're really excited that we're able to provide various levels of technical assistance services to other organizations as well.
Now, I don't want you to be confused. The Southside Health Center is bad. We've been around since 1987, and we've been contracted to go across the country to provide capacity building. And capacity building is mean to take our level of skill and give it to another agency such as ours so that they can grow as well. So do not be confused. We are a bad agency.
Yes,
Ms. Wrenn is absolutely fabulous and her staff. So if you're one of those agencies and you require capacity building, give us a call here, or you can reach us at the agency 773-445-5445. And what is your extension, Ms. Wrenn?
I am at extension 4255.
4255. I think we got a caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Oh, wow, already.
You're on the air, caller. Can you hear us? I think we may be having a little technical difficulties over here. We'll come back to that call.
Okay.
But again, we've been providing capacity building across the country, so that means that we go all over. So they are always on the go and on the fly because they're going to different states and providing not just HIV prevention, but providing capacity building prevention across the country. It is absolutely amazing. Go ahead.
And I want to double back to your question regarding who we serve. Initially, the majority of our technical assistance was within the city of Chicago. Then we grew to the greater Chicago area and statewide. Then we grew to a subcontracted status within a 12-state region, which was a regional program that we were a part of. And so after gaining various levels of experience, we're now, again, as we stated, at a national level, meaning that we service all of the United States and its territories. And so we've done a lot of traveling. We continue to do a lot of traveling, and we're known at the agency as being the ones with the suitcases and getting on planes all the time because there's so much need out there. There are a lot of organizations across the country that were recently funded by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to provide direct services within the community. And so Southside Help Center, fortunately, is one of those that were recently funded for prevention services. There were 133 organizations that were recently awarded, and so we're going to be able to continue the good work that we do here in the city of Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois.
Absolutely. We got a caller. D. John, put him on. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, hello?
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm all right. One of the questions I want to ask, because I live on the west side, and this is my first time watching you guys' show. This is my only day I have off, unfortunately. But
We understand.
this is my first time watching your show, and I've been talking to a lot of people in my community, not only in my community, but just in the broad community in Chicago, period. African Americans, and I'm really concerned. I really want to know, like, who funds the Southside Health Center? Is there a black organization? I mean, do black donors donate to this, or we getting our donations from different type of corporations or different things of that sort? Is that something I just want to know? Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you. And I'll definitely let Pamela answer that, because we want to talk about where our funding comes from. But let us say this. Southside Health Center is a non-for-profit organization, and we look for funds from wherever we can get them. We have a number of different programs that we do service with our youth programs, our violence prevention programs, our gang prevention programs, our substance abuse programs, our mental health counseling programs, our HIV prevention programs. So we look for funds wherever we can get them. But we're talking about the bank project, so I'll let Ms. Wrenn talk about how they receive funding for this particular project.
Thank you. Last year in 2009, Southside Help Center was one of 30 organizations across the United States that received capacity building assistance funding. And so over a 4.5-year period, we're going to receive $2.8 million. So basically, that's our largest grant, but we're also subcontracted with Howard Brown and Haymarket Center. It's a collaboration amongst 3 organizations, which is critical for providing quality services. And that's the project through Office of Minority Health. And again, we're subcontracted, meaning that they receive the grant and they subcontract us. So in looking at funding overall, not-for-profit organizations, as Mr. Cherry was saying, are always looking for forms of revenue, of financial support. So while we have federal dollars that are coming in through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, through the Office of Minority Health, through the state of Illinois, the Illinois Department of Public Health, the Chicago Department of Public Health. We receive funds from all of these entities. However, we really need to get our private donations up. We are going to be participating in the upcoming AIDS Walk in September, and I can't remember our date right offhand, but we're going to be, we'll get that back to you, but we'll be participating in the HIV/AIDS Walk, which a lot of that is donor, private donations, and so we really need for organizations and individuals and we have coin collection cups and we take donations any way that we can, because unfortunately monies come and monies go. So as a not-for-profit organization, just as quickly as you get the money, oftentimes it can leave you. So it's a challenge to run an organization of our nature, knowing that we're trying to provide the community with a service through public health and HIV prevention and youth violence prevention, etc. There are so many things that we're trying to do to help the community, but we really do need support for that. So while the programs that we have around capacity building are well funded right now, in 4.5 years, actually now 4 years, that will be a question mark for us. And so the same thing happens with our prevention dollars to provide HIV/AIDS testing, to provide services to intravenous drug users, to provide services to homeless people, to provide services to youth, to women, commercial sex workers. Oftentimes we have a variety of populations that we need resources in order to service them. And so I'm glad that our caller is really getting in tune with this epidemic, because unfortunately in a society like ours and other societies, you need those dollars, you need that support. And so a part of what we do as capacity building service providers is we talk with other organizations to help them to get themselves funded, to get themselves serviced up so that they can be of benefit to the community as well. So some of our areas of service include fiscal management. A lot of organizations like ours open one day and they close the next, and that's almost an epidemic within itself.
Absolutely.
You may see within the community how you have businesses that are doing pretty good. They open up maybe in January, and maybe by December they no longer have customers. And the same thing can happen with a not-for-profit entity, so we have to really be cautious when we talk about funding. $2.8 million sounds like a lot, but when you sit down and look at the figures and the staffing that it takes and the travel, it ends up being a lot less than what you really would like to work with. And so we're trying to make sure that that our reach is as extensive as possible across the country and in all of the U.S. territories. But all of that takes dollars. All of the work of Southside Help Center takes dollars. So any support that our local community can provide us with, we're more than willing to accept.
Because throughout history, they always want work done, but rarely is there ever enough money, even if you follow the budget.
Yes.
Budgets and budget cuts, there's always money being cut. But the thing about HIV prevention and education, the one thing that we find that, they're always cutting the money. They're always defunding or not funding programming, but the rate of HIV infection continues. That has not changed in the African American community.
Right.
So it's so very important that people understand that we need help to make these programs function efficiently within our communities in order to bring down the rate of HIV infection, in order to provide our youth with some type of conflict resolution skills, in order to provide them with some violence prevention skills, in order to provide them with somewhere to go, because we also have a after-school program that we've talked about in previous shows where the kids actually come in and we do homework with them, we play games with them, we do workshops with them,
feed them,
and
right.
That's another program that has had you talk about a
Very
guardian
important.
angel or an angel.
Yes.
There's a gentleman, and we won't mention his name, but he has been vital to that youth program, man, because you'd be surprised when you start talking about funding, you start talking about programming. Sometimes we don't even have a functioning basketball, because we have so many youth that need so many things. You have to look at what's going to be most important for our program. So we have to provide those things that are most important. So when we get what we call unrestricted dollars, that means everything that all of our funding sources are very specific in what they want done with that money. So sometimes we have to do things that we're not funded to do, and we continue to do them. We're not complaining. I heard you say you got one day off. That's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
A lot of people got 7 days off, so it's a blessing if you have just that one day off. But we definitely need help when we're talking about programs and funding, and it always take more than we actually have. Let me flash back real quick. That's a segment right here to do this overhead.
That's right.
All we do is win. And this is a program that we're doing on Friday, which is a back-to-school program for youth. We're providing book bags. We're providing a couple of workshops for the parents. And we're also going to provide food and a stage show. And again, never have enough. So we thank you for calling in and even asking about how we're able to get this stuff done. DJ, we got a call? We appreciate you calling and even asking how we get this stuff done, because you'll be surprised. A lot of times it comes with dedicated staff. People who are willing to go that extra mile, people who are willing to reach beyond what the dollars allow us to do. And that's why we're always talking about funding. We always soliciting private funding. We do private funding. We do bank funding. We do CDC funding, city, state, so forth. Always needing something.
Mr. Cherry, I wanted to make a point also that our agency is in a very unique position in that we're both a community-based organization, while at the same time we're working with other organizations to provide them with capacity building assistance services. So that puts us in a very unique position in that we are doing the work of working directly within the community to service our local populations and our statewide populations, while at the same time we're teaching others how to do things similar to what we're doing. For example, I'm looking at that flyer for the event on Friday, and the minute that our director of operations put those in my hands, I says, well, they're not going to do any good in my hands, so let me apply what I know. And so I started going from street to street, just on my way back to our other site.
Absolutely.
Street to street, handing out the palm cards to people in our community, because I want to make sure, and I know we all want to make sure, that all 400 of those book bags are gone by the end of the event on Friday.
Absolutely.
And also had a chance to go to one of the local outreach ministry locations. And so these are the kind of things that we train other organizations to do, because sometimes organizations might, for example, waste paper. You print out a bunch of stuff, but you don't have anyone to put them out there on the streets.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times it takes creative thinking, it takes volunteers, it takes staff, it takes everyone in order to make things work. And so I encourage anyone that might be interested in learning more about HIV/AIDS and what our organization is doing to call us to, let us know that you have an interest in learning more, because this epidemic is very lopsided, and that's an easy way of saying that we have health disparities in our community. While the epidemic has been going down in numbers in other communities, in the African American, Latino communities, it's been going up, in particular the African American community. And the reason why I believe why that's happening is because we're truly in a state of denial.
Yes.
This epidemic is leaving us behind, and we have people dying of AIDS in our community on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And we're really hard pressed to keep pushing for getting these resources on every level, national, state, and local, and making sure that we continue to get what we need to do this work, because we have a lot of things that need to be done.
A whole lot of things, because it seems like no matter what we get done, there's always more work to do.
Yes.
Really quickly, run that address down for them. So we're going to run it to you again. We want to run it to you really quickly. If you would like to get in touch with Ms. Wrenn and talk about capacity building and who that actually applies to, here's the information you need.
Okay, our office, just so that you're clear, Southside Help Center has 3 different locations within the city of Chicago. And so the capacity building office is in the Beverly community at 9415 Southwestern Avenue, Suite 203. Our telephone number there is 773-701-4258. We'll connect you with our program assistant, 4258. And then I'm at extension 4255. And so we have a team there that is focused on capacity building assistance. And so we have a training room at that location. We have
so y'all actually do on-site training?
Yes, we do on-site trainings, but a good majority of what we do is outside of the office. So again, we're constantly traveling. We're getting ready to do a training in Little Rock, Arkansas, so I'm really excited about that. There are several interventions that we're funded to provide, one of which is SISTA, Sisters Informing Sisters about topics on AIDS. And SISTA is a very popular intervention for African American women. And so myself and one of our capacity building assistant specialists, Winter Viverette, will be traveling down to Little Rock, Arkansas, which will be my first time going there. So I'm excited. A lot of history in that area. And for a week, we'll be with the Arkansas Department of Health to help to provide, again, a skills building training for this particular intervention. So we're truly excited. And so we've got a variety of things that we're doing across the country.
And that's bad. When you go into the Department of Health and you're helping in capacity building with them, it's absolutely phenomenal for us to be able to, or be in a position to do so. The one thing I don't want you guys to forget is about Friday's event. And the thing that we like to do is we collaborate with other agencies, because we want to make sure that our services are reaching the vast number of people. She talked about the bank project hooking up with Haymarket as well as Howard Brown. And we're touching as many people as we can. The back to school event is a part of what is called a 6th region YRC. I want to make sure I get that correctly. The 6th region YRC, which is Youth Ready Chicago. And Southside Help Center is simply the lead agency on this particular project. So the Youth Ready Chicago and the Southside Help Center are who are sponsoring our back to school event. Youth Ready Chicago is made up of approximately 30 different agencies that we're collaborating with within the 6th region. So this arm is very, very, very long, the back to school event. So it's very important that people come out and support this event 100%. On Friday, from 12 until 5, we got the Southside Help Center along with the Youth Ready Chicago, along with a number of other sponsors. We got Walgreens, we got the City of Chicago, we got the Chicago Sky. Power 92 will be hosting that show live. Right. We'll be on the radio station through the Shine Night show. We also have a couple of other very, very important. The McCormick Foundation is helping and co-sponsoring this. Family Center is helping and co-sponsoring this. Chicago Sky, Mercy Home for Boys. All of these different people, we've come together on